Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Astro Insights. I am your host, Mel Rose, and today is Sunday, February 8th, 2026. Thank you for checking in on your regular current astrology. Thank you for tuning in with us on Sunday mornings. I, I, as you know, as above, so below, we look to the sky to get some kind of clue or inkling, as we have for hundreds of thousands of years, as to what kind of vibrations are playing out here down on Earth. And hopefully that helps us navigate our own lives with a little more peace and success and prosperity. That is my hope. And I'm so glad you're here with me. Today, the sun is in Aquarius for another week and a half, making our public facing lives, like our work, social, and civic lives, about the groups that we align with. So, whether that is your work, social, or civic life, we're getting together with our valued collaborators right now, people who understand your mission in the world and share your values. Those are the ones you want to be making plans with that are people powered, and those plans hopefully are in the interest of improving the general welfare. That is the vibe of Aquarius. And then the waning moon is in Scorpio. This is a time for personal clearing. Take a look at your core values and make sure you're not holding on to anything that's blocking your ability to connect from the heart. You know, values based on old resentments, for example, things that you just said you would never do again. Some things are definitely a yeah, never again, and other things are a well, maybe I should give it another chance. Under this moon, the people we keep company with will not feel comfortable around us if we are not being authentically ourselves. Okay, so do your best to keep it 100. Aquarius and Scorpio, Sun in Aquarius, Moon in Scorpio, those are our fixed air and fixed water signs. So this lends us a feeling of consistency and focus as we face the week ahead. And we're still in Imbolc, friends. Last week and this week and a little bit of next week. It's a long one this time. And this period of time represents the midpoint between winter solstice and spring equinox. This is the time of year when we see the winter really begin to ease off. Like Jennifer said, we get that little false spring. The sun is returning. The days are gradually getting longer and warmer. And the promise of spring, if not the actual thing, is in the air. Also, today, Venus is at the end of Aquarius and it's making a square to Uranus at the end of Taurus. Venus rules the sign that Uranus is sitting in, and Uranus is the modern ruler of the sign that Venus is sitting in. So there's a stop sign in the form of the square vibration asking us to consider our options. What is it that you're asking for that may be kind of hard to get? Is there a better way to go about it? But these planets are speaking to one another in one another's language. So it could actually be a productive negotiation for supplies, compensation, upgraded hardware, even the recognition you seek. And that's all happening today, friends. That sets the tone for the whole week. Sunlight returning, we're all in different ways called to collaborate for success, and we're striving to show up with courage and transparency. So, in the week ahead, there are two big transitions happening this week. Venus moves on into Pisces, and Saturn moves on into Aries, and that's the big. But first, tomorrow is Monday the 9th. According to the Farmer's Almanac, tomorrow is National Pizza Day. Yay, National Pizza Day. I wonder if we have a trip to Papa's in the offing. And the waning moon will move on into Sagittarius, bringing the personal life focus out of that deep self reflection where we're making sure we're being our authentic selves, and instead encouraging us to get out and do something engaging, hopefully something that expands our experience or helps us feel like we've learned something. Then on Tuesday the 10th, Venus makes its move into Pisces. And Venus is exalted in Pisces. She does really well here. It's like an honored guest in the kingdom of Pisces, ruled by the King Jupiter. My hope is with this transit of Venus in Pisces in 2026, my hope is that we may find it easy to relax and become receptive to those connections that help us feel our wholeness and give us a sense of faith that we are held and supported by something greater than us, whether that be family, community, a unity mindset, a partnership, a series of a system of partnerships, we are all more at ease when we don't try to do everything alone. And especially considering that this year Venus is going to have a retrograde, right now would be a great time to to really allow yourself to be at ease in those partnerships, in those relationships, and in those places where you feel really connected and supported. Wednesday, the 11th, the sun in Aquarius will be cooperating with Chiron in Aries. That's that pink line you see on the chart. In our work, social, and civic lives, there are challenges we seek to overcome. Always. Problems that want solving all the time. And this is perfect weather for you to be taking action, to be making a change in the ways that you do things so that you can solve problems, mend fences, heal rifts. And then on Thursday, the 12th, the moon moves on into Capricorn, and our personal lives become more about our goals and aspirations. We all want mountains to climb and problems to solve when the moon is in Capricorn. So we're ready to put in some labor. And with the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Capricorn this Thursday through Saturday, it carries a lot of Saturn ruled energy, which tells us it'll pay to have your head in the game and be participating in your own success, especially around this Thursday. Also on Thursday, Mars in Aquarius makes an adjustment to Jupiter in Cancer. Mars in Aquarius likes to do things differently, streamlined and efficient, feels nice since it's about the physical effort we're making. Jupiter adds grace. Jupiter adds reasons to have faith. And while Jupiter's in Cancer, the grace comes across like an abundant rain, like water, which represents emotions, intuitive information, and our desire for connection. It encourages us, I encourage us all to give some thought, literally and metaphorically, to how do you capture and or divert the water when it really starts to come down in your life? What might you do physically, actively to manage your emotional and intuitive information more effectively? That's the question this Mars and Jupiter aspects asks of us on Thursday. Then the next day is Friday, February 13th, my friends. Friday the 13th, Saturn moves on into Aries for the first time in 36 years. And this is consequential astrology, friends. It precedes the very consequential astrology that's coming up next week, which is Saturn's conjunction to Neptune right here at 0 degrees of Aries next Friday, the 20th. That upcoming conjunction is massive, and we will have a lot to say about it in next week's episode. But for today, let's just focus on the bigness of this moment. Saturn is entering Aries this Friday, the 13th, where it will be for the next 3 years before it moves on. And Saturn in Aries is not a comfortable fit. Saturn likes a method, it likes a plan, it makes slow and steady progress in its effort to build things that will last. Aries encourages quickness and acting on instinct and shooting from the hip, so to speak. Saturn is like a rock and Aries is in the fire. So it's like we're throwing the rock into the fire. This is important because it describes our efforts toward personal stability as being a bit of a struggle for us over the next 3 years. Whatever it is that represents security for us, each of us, is going to have to work for it. We're going to have to fight for it. And all of us will be transformed by those efforts of having to really make an effort to establish our security. We're going to be transformed into something by this transit of Saturn and Aries over the next 3 years, something more ready and more capable of responding and more clear about what it is that we stand for. Recently, Neptune moved into Aries and began to help us lift this fog of illusion and confusion, showing us which principles we're willing to fight for. And now Saturn enters Aries and shows us, now that so much has fallen apart, what remains that can be defended? Where is the dry ground that we can stand on to fight for what we know is right? And remember, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. These planets entering Aries are beginning new cycles in which we begin to idealize a philosophy of action, independence, activism, militarism, even, and rebellion for years to come. So it's not a small deal that Saturn is moving into Aries. It's not a small deal that Neptune has just moved into Aries. In fact, both of these are part of that much bigger set of shifts that we've been going through over the past few years, a lot of which is happening this year that's going to see us living really in a completely different world next year. Um, just the level of change that's happening to us on the collective level, the amount of change that's happening for us on the collective level. We haven't seen anything like this in thousands of years in astrology. So I really expect to see some new and different things than what I'm used to seeing in this lifetime. I want to say, I get the feeling that many of us may be tempted to discard our compassion for other people or our willingness to make compassionate actions for some idea of showing strength. But if the past several years have shown us anything, friends, is that exercising strength without compassion doesn't work for us in the age of Aquarius, okay? So we're going to have to find a more compassionate way to act, a more problem-solving approach, I think, a more creative approach to fighting our battles. And I really look forward to that. Now, Saturday the 14th is Valentine's Day, and with the sun in and the moon in Saturn ruled signs that day, let's focus on activities that reinforce the strength of our romantic and friendly partnerships. We don't want to do anything that's too challenging. We really just want to celebrate what it is that we have with somebody that helps us feel stability, that helps us feel like someone in the world has our back. And Valentine's Day is traditionally about romantic connections, but lately there's been a Galentine's Day thing that comes up on Friday the 13th or on February 13th that's really about celebrating your besties out in the world. And I really love that. And I really see romance being especially in the age of Aquarius, but with the sun in Aquarius, romance being something that we also play out with friends, just not in that romantic intimacy way, in a different kind of a friendly and platonic and intimacy. So be open to that, and be open to just noticing where your partnerships are and what those partnerships do to help you feel like you have a strong foundation in your life, and celebrate that this Saturday the 14th with Valentine's Day. That's what I encourage you to do. Then next Sunday the 15th, the sun will make its square to Uranus, and that brings that variable availability of stuff and things into light in our public facing lives. Work, social and civic lives might be looking for things we cannot put our hands on. And the week after next Sunday is when the sun enters Pisces and Saturn finally makes its conjunct to Neptune. And then we're living in a whole new world, friends. I know we're going to turn around. We're going to that day and say, well, it looks a lot like the old world. And definitely we still have some stuff that we are dealing with. We can't just stop one world and begin a new one. However, we really are on the verge of some great big new discoveries, some great big new shifts in the way we do things collectively, the way we are conscious of one another, and the way we see the idea of winning and uplift in the world. So we will be here with you, observing what happens and bringing astrological and tarot and intuitive insight to the struggles we all face. Remember, my friends, you are not alone. We are all in this together. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We appreciate you so much. And I think that